Hey guys, Meteorologist Chris Tomer here on this Saturday. Let's talk some mountain weather. And we're going to go to Montana first. This is Big Sky. Snow coming down actively right now. It's going to snow most of the day up there across Big Sky, Bridger Bowl. Thinking probably 4, 5, 6, 7 inches up there at Big Sky today. This is your primary snow for the next 7 days. It's happening today. And then the temperatures as we kind of get down the road are really going to start to warm, and that's going to be a big limiting factor across the west, which I will definitely go into here coming up. But let me show you radar across the west. So there's our feed of moisture continuing to stretch out over the higher terrain. Idaho, especially Montana, starting to pop up over the top of Wyoming, the Wind Rivers, the Tetons. Now eventually this is going to take a bit of a right-hand turn as a cold front, and it may brush parts of Little and Big Cottonwood Canyon with maybe an inch, maybe a couple of inches over the very highest peaks tonight, tomorrow morning on its way through. And then it will drop down into Colorado late tonight and tomorrow morning into sort of that northeast corner, Vail, over to Summit County, up towards the Continental Divide, Front Range, High Peaks. I'll talk a little bit more about that coming up. Let's go to my bullet points. No, you know what? Let's do water vapor satellite imagery across the west. So on this, your moisture's in the whites and the blues, and you can definitely see the feed of moisture right here running across a lot of the northern tier. Now eventually, again, some of this is going to start to take a little bit of a right-hand turn as the front and the sort of axis shifts, and that front sort of digs down into parts of Wyoming, Colorado tonight, tomorrow morning. All right, here are my bullet points. There's a lot of little things to talk about in this forecast. So, I mean, overall, the storm track does continue to favor a lot of the northern tier. The storm system basically continues today into tomorrow, and then it departs out into the plains. And then we're in for the hot high pressure, the winter killer, 316 through probably 325. Now, during that time period, it will remain hot and dry through California, Nevada, Utah, Colorado, New Mexico. Now, to the north, into the northern tier, Pacific Northwest, moisture will continue to stream into that area, Pacific Northwest, BC. The problem is going to be the warm air beneath this massive dome of high pressure. It is going to force the rain, snow line, or the freezing levels up to really high levels, elevations for this time of the year. And I'm going to have specific numbers on that in just a second. So keep that in the back of your mind. Alta at the base area will likely see temperatures near 60 degrees at the heart of this high pressure. That seems to be where we're kind of headed, 55 to 60 degrees up there. Here are your 15-day snow totals. There's not a lot here unless you're up into BC. Here are the specific dates, best odds as to where we're going to pick up accumulation. Colorado, it's later today, tonight, tomorrow morning, and then maybe on the 24th. I don't have anything for California and the High Sierra. Utah, it's mainly this afternoon, tonight, maybe a tiny bit tomorrow morning. Idaho remains in the flow along with Wyoming, Montana, the Pacific Northwest, but interior BC. But the problem will be the warm air. Let me show you what I'm thinking as far as the freezing level rain snow line. So between 317 and 324, really the heart of this high pressure. So Montana, your freezing level will go to 10 to 12,000 feet in Montana. In Utah, 12 to 15. Colorado, 12 to 15. California, 13 to 15. Idaho, 11 to 13. Washington State, 6 to 9,000 feet. So immediately this says, okay, even if you have some moisture coming in, like for example in Washington, that's going to preclude the chance of snow for a lot of places because of just how high that freezing level is going to be. In other words, the rain snow line will be on some days at 9,000 feet, which completely wipes out the probability or even chance of any snow at a lot of places across the Cascades and the high volcanoes. I mean, with freezing levels maximizing during the day, for example, in Utah, up to 15,000 feet, that's everywhere. That's every single spot in the mountains of Utah. And in Colorado, if it's up at 15 during the day, that's all places in Colorado. It's above all the 14ers in Colorado. That's how massive this high pressure is. Here's the state of the atmosphere. This is Sunday, 3:15. This is the last of the good stuff right here. This area of low pressure, so your lower than normal pressures here are in the colder colors, the blues, the greens. Your warmer colors are in the oranges, the reds. Those are your higher pressures. So there's your storm track bending the axis right there on 315 to drag this cold front through. That's how we're going to see just a little bit of snow. In Colorado, Vail East, I mean, you might have 3 to 6 inches as this blows through. In the Front Range of Colorado, we'll see a sizable cold front drag itself right through the Denver area. And there will be wind as well. But that's, look what happens by the time we get to 319. This is the zenith of this big dome, this hot winter killer high pressure. This is when temperatures at a lot of ski areas will hit 60 degrees. 60-degree high temperatures. Typically what would happen is, it's not unusual to see warm-ups, not to this magnitude though, but then you get these cold fronts and you'll get a return to cold and snow typically through April. So really, if we just say, okay, we've got a high coming, when does that shift? When do we see a return to cold and snow? It's a little uncertain. There might be a storm system that crosses the northern tier 23-24, but the inertia of the high, it will probably have staying power, and that low will come and go, and the high will still be there. So, as I mentioned a few days ago, it's possible that this high, at least part of it, sticks around for the rest of the month, and we may not see a bigger shift until we get into April, that first week of April. We'll see. All right, here's 27. This is Friday, 327, and this has a return of high pressure for 326, 27, 28. So if that happens, that's basically the month in a nutshell right there. Does AI agree? Well, it does. So here's AI, and it definitely on 327, it's got your high just like the operational run. So we're back to this. While there may be a quick storm system 23-24 that traverses the northern tier with a bit of snow, it's right back to high pressure for the rest of the month. Here's total precip as if everything fell as liquid. Over the next 8 days, your primary storm track is going to run right through here. 10-to-1 snow, same places, same time period. Deep purple is at least 6 inches, bright pink would be at least a foot, the white would be at least 2 feet. And notice how the depth of snow really decreases once we get into this high pressure. Again, there might still be moisture streaming in across the northern tier, but a lot of it's going to end up being rain. Let's go to the southwest vantage point. And the only thing showing up here over the next 8 days is up here in Colorado, where we could see some snow between afternoon, evening of the 14th into the morning of the 15th. And that's probably it. And that would be snow. Here's your 10 to 15 day snow plume off the AI model. Interesting, we're berthed by the close of 329. This has about a foot of snow. This only has about 6 or 7 in Jackson Hole by the same time period. So this actually produces more snow or generates more snow over Berthoud Pass, that front range high corridor of Colorado, than it does Jackson Hole. Now, some of it may be because of temperatures. Some of it's because of the storm track, how the axis comes straight down and shifts into that area. Okay, let's go to my forecast here. So here are my numbers, and this is 314 through 322, nothing for California, basically nothing for Utah, very little for Colorado unless you're Vail East, and a bit up here into Wyoming, Montana. And some of this, you're on a limited time scale. And look at these numbers. I really had to shave these down through the Pacific Northwest because it's going to be so doggone warm up here. Even though there's moisture coming in, Crystal, Stevens, Timberline, the snow, I mean, a lot of it's going to fall as rain up there with those high snow levels. In the Northeast, here's your rolling accumulation. Deep purple is at least 6, bright pink is at least a foot. And there's some decent totals up here. With it being so warm out to the west, it should be a little bit colder here with the storm track. And yeah, we could see a foot. Jay Peak, Whiteface, Snow Ridge, and then less as you go south. Tremblant's over a foot. So between 314 and 322, we're looking pretty good in the Northeast. All right, we'll end on the big western map here, guys. Appreciate you tuning in here today. It's going to be a fight. Once we get into this high pressure, it's going to be extremely warm. Take care, have a great day, and appreciate you tuning in here.